Who is good?
Yes, sir, we are able to hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
So, yes, sir, we can hear you. Varsha, please start the session.
Okay. A warm welcome and good evening to everyone present here. Without any delay, we shall move to the session. With immense pleasure, I welcome our guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Vinod Murugan, Research Development Head and Assistant Professor, Selvam College of Technology, who is a great profound researcher in the field of nanomaterials, energy conversion, and solar cell technology. Now, I request Ms. Brinda Ramasubramanian to address the speaker. I also request all the participants to switch off your mics and video and attend this session with full coordination. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening and warm greetings to all the faculties, professionals, students, and all the participants present here. On this auspicious day, the Novus 2020 online webinar and podcast event emphasizing scientific research and academics, I welcome you all to attend the session and share your valuable feedbacks. Today, I am with much pride. I invite Dr. Vinod Murugan, Research Coordinator and Assistant Professor, Selvam College of Technology. Dr. Vinod Murugan completed his bachelor's degree in electrical and electronics engineering and master's in nanoscience and technology. He has been doing research in so many fields with great outcomes. He has made enormous and innovative contributions to material characterization and energy conversion and storage devices. Presently, he is working in the areas of developing perovskite nanomaterials, heterogeneous and hybrid solar cell technology. Such a great man and an excellent researcher as well as a simple person. With much honor and delight, I welcome Dr. Vinod Murugan once again. Welcome you, sir, and now the platform is yours.
Thank you, Brinda ma'am, for your kind introduction. My good afternoon to all. I welcome you for the presentation lecture on research, development, and progress of photovoltaic solar cell technology. So we enter into the session. What is meant by research? The University of Sydney, Western University Sydney defines the research as the creation of knowledge and or the use of existing knowledge in new and creative way. So they generate new concept, methodology, and many of the think research is a new thing, not find a new thing. You have to upgrade or you have to create the new way from the old one. That means increasing the efficiency or material concept for older one. That's a research. This could be included synthesis and analysis of previous research to extend the list to new creative outcomes. Mostly research in feedback of insight, problem finding, non-linear iterative process, prototyping and testing. These topics are under research. We for research in photovoltaic technology. What do we need of photovoltaic technology?
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Your voice is not.
Yeah.
So can you just keep your mic somewhat in a distance or try with some other places so that your audio will be clear, sir?
Okay, I will correct it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
The need of photovoltaic technology. Okay. The need of photovoltaic technology. The renewable energy resource is one of the sustainable solution for world energy demand. Because renewable energy resources are one of the most conventional and easy available resources from nature. Photovoltaic is used to convert solar energy into electric energy to meet out the energy crisis. Now, the solar voltaic market is depend upon the silicon solar cell because of the efficiency, but cost-wise, it's very high. So, we meet out the energy demand, we go to the solar cell fabrication, preparation, and characterization to research in photovoltaic cell to upgrade the efficiency with lower cost technology to manufacture the efficient solar cell. The solar technology mainly in four way of technology. So first one is second one is thermoelectric effect. Third one is thermoelectrochemical effect. Fourth one is like heat engine. The photovoltaic technology, semiconductor material which converts one form of energy, it's a photon energy, to convert into current, the voltaics. That's a photovoltaic. Thermoelectric effect use the heat energy to become of the electric energy by using thermoelectric effect. Then photochemical cell. Photochemical cell means dye-sensor is some chemical in the solar cell for a preparation of holes. Then it reacts using of the will be current, that means electrons. It will be from photoelectrochemical cell. Next one is heat engine. Heat engine to produce the electrical energy by using some industries, thermal power plant. So many power plants they are using heat engine. These are the solar technologies. Second, then a basic operation of solar cell. The semiconductor solar cell transforms the incident photons from the sunlight. When the sunlight hits the semiconductor material, the semiconductor material creates the holes and electrons. Holes will be collected by the positive electrode and electrons will be collected by negative electrodes. See here, electron is here, hole is here. So photon hits the semiconductor material, electron exhibits and collected by electrode. The holes exhibits and collected by positive electrode. This way is connected to the load or meter and everything to analyze this solar cell. It's the basic operation. The semiconductor solar cell transforms the instant photons from sun directly to electrical energy through electronic circuits by generating both voltage, photovoltage and photocurrent. Construction of solar cell. The solar cell is basically constructed by N-type and P-type material. This is the barrier depletion layer. When photon hits the layer, then negative electrons and positive holes are generated. The negative electrons are collected by the electrode. Then it is sent to the load. The positive holes are generated and it will be collected by the electron. The load is operated. This is the symbol of photovoltaic cell. This is light absorber. The semiconductor is basic of light absorbing property. So that only used in a solar cell. The basic structure of solar cell. Here we see the photon equal to h by mu. It hits the p-n junction. Here electron holes are exhibited. These are the electrode material. The front electrode is a negative electrode. The back electrode is positive electrode. This is a electrode passing layer. The holes are collected by this electrode. Electrons are collected by this electrode. The load will be generate the power. The solar generated power, the load will be acquiring the power. The basic solar cell. Flow chart for evaluation of solar cell. Solar cells fabricated from number of semiconductors, most commonly silicon, polycrystalline, and amorphous. Silicon
Sir, sorry to interrupt, sir.
Single crystal silicon.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir. It's not clear what you're saying, sir. The last two lines, it totally break down, sir.
Okay.
Can you give us a mic check now, sir? Like, say something so we can see whether it.
It's audio.
Sir, speak something.
Now it's audible.
Yeah, now it's audible. Please continue.
The basic types of solar cells is generated by first generation, second generation, third generation. Now we are in generation. The first generation solar cell is made by monocrystalline and polycrystalline material. Second generation was by thin solar cell, that is amorphous cadmium tetrachloride. Then material. So is made by sensory solar cell, and perovskite solar cell. We go for first generation solar cell. First generation solar cell is known as monocrystalline solar cells and polycrystalline solar cells. Monocrystalline solar cells are made by single crystalline solar cell. Polycrystalline solar cell made by silicon fragments, multi-silicon fragments. They're made by. Are you hearable?
Yes, sir, but there is a small, back noise from your audio, which is not clear.
Sorry for the interruption. Wait 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yes, sir. Now your voice is clear.
Now it's audible.
Yes, sir. It's clearly audible. Please continue.
Yes, okay. Okay, thank you. Audible? Audible? Slides are visible.
Yes, the PPT is not visible, sir.
Your Google Meet window is visible. Please open
Yeah.
your PPT, sir.
Now it is.
Yes, sir. Now your yes, it's visible.
The third generation solar cells are made by tri-series solar cell, organic solar cell, quantum photovoltaic solar cell, and phase solar cell. You see the first generation solar cell. Monocrystalline solar panels have solar cell made from single crystalline silicon. This is the monocrystalline solar cell. It's made by single crystalline. The whole cells are made by single crystalline. It's a cost effective and also more efficiency than other cells. Then we go for polycrystalline solar cell. Solar cell which continues. Solar cell there are many silicon fragments. These fragments shows that lines, polycrystalline combination of silicon elements are made in polycrystalline solar cell. It is inferior to monocrystalline silicon, slightly less efficient, but cost effective is more than silicon. So this always rectify the old disadvantage, the old limitation, old technologies. So the monocrystalline is overcome by polycrystalline solar cells in first generation. First generation solar cell, the monocrystalline panel solar panels disadvantage is highest price solar panels. The silicon material is more expensive normally. In recent years, the cost of the premium monocrystalline solar panels over polycrystalline solar panels has fallen as more manufacture of polycrystalline silicon. Convert to furnace to produce monocrystalline cells. The monocrystalline cells limits the preparation of polycrystalline solar cells. Then after the polycrystalline solar cells, we have some limitation and disadvantage because the efficiency level will compare polycrystalline is less than monocrystalline. So it will be from 14 to 16%. But monocrystalline cells get 18 to 20%. It's a level of purity. The monocrystalline cells are single structure, so the efficient level is more than 18%. But polycrystalline purity silicon is less. Silicon is very less. Polycrystalline are quite efficient as monocrystalline. That means at least large than monocrystalline. Monocrystalline efficiency by the polycrystalline is the area of operating solar cell is R in polycrystalline solar cell. These are the disadvantages. Upcoming source, you have to reduce the space of the solar cell, also increase the intensity of solar cell, and also decrease the amount of the solar cell. Those three things are important in solar generation. Second generation solar cell, thin film solar cell. Thin film solar cell is nothing but it's a coating, coat solar cell, coated in a ITO or TCO pattern. Here we see glass substrate. Then we go to window layer. Window layer means you have to observe the holes from this active layer. This is absorption layer. This layer is observe the photons from light, sun. Then it receives the holes and electrons. Holes will be collected by this window layer. Then the output will be taken to TCO or ITO, indium coated tin oxide. This one is electrode AG, gold anode conductor. Conductor is used to bypass the electron from here to here. Without using this buffer layer, the percentage of efficiency is very low because the exhibit holes and electrons are combined inside the active layer. So we ought to reduce the recombinations. Will photon hits the active layer, absorption layer, it produce the holes and electrons. Electron will be absorbed by the electron buffer layer. Holes will be absorbed by the holes buffer layer. This is the thin film technology is used to produce the solar cell. Normally, it uses less material and its fabrication process also very effective than polycrystalline and monocrystalline, because polycrystalline and monocrystallines are prepared by the printed technology, but the thin film solar cells, second generation, third generation solar cells are coating technology solar cell. They are made up of different type of silicon, known as amorphous silicon. The silicon are more efficient in first generation. They said the crystalline silicons are used for solar cell fabrication. Then now, after that, the research will extend to amorphous silicon also the solar cell. The solar cell with the efficient. Next semiconductor material, copper-indium gallium nitride solar cell. These are more competitive comparatively. Amorphous silicon and copper-indium gallium nitride solar cells are more efficient than polycrystalline, not most solar cells. Because monocrystalline cells are very pure silicon, so the energy become also very less. Even light hits very smooth, the energy will be so usually production cost and the fabrication cost are very less in second generation silicon and copper solar cell, but the efficiency wise it's higher polycrystalline and lower the mass function is simple because the coating technology. The homogeneous appearance the style will be double, can be flexible with potential application. The generation is limited in polycrystalline and after implementing that will allow to achieve more efficient and effective, cost-effective materials with cost-effective material. The high temperature shading house is impact on solar cells. The high temperature, that means heat controllable, and also shaded light also they produce some voltages, because they have two steps in buffer layer. The active layer attends higher visible light, also lower visible light. So higher visible light when appears, it produces high amount of voltage. The lower visible light will appear, they also higher amount of voltage. So the higher temperature values less impact on solar panel. In situation where space is also not each the polycrystalline and monocrystalline. The space area space is very less than polycrystalline and monocrystalline solar cell. Here we see the metal electrode to collecting electrons, zinc oxide layer, buffer layer, and gallium oxide. This active layer produces holes in the electrons. The buffer layer collects the holes in the electrons and sent to the electrode. The electrode will connect to the loader meter to analyze the solar cell. Every technology has some disadvantages because they have to not very useful for most residential situations. They are cheap, but they also require large space. Monocrystalline solar cells produce 4 times of solar cell for the same amount of space. Here also some space problem. Well, compared to polycrystalline, the thin film solar cell, but when compared to monocrystalline, some disadvantages in thin film solar cell. They have low space efficiency also means that cost of PV equipment will increases. The manufacturing cost is less, but the power output space of the PV technology is increases. The thin film solar panels tend to degrade the faster than monocrystalline solar cell, and also polycrystalline. The degradation, because it's a form of chemical, so the degradation is faster than other two technologies. Typically, the come with a short warranty. Solar cell. Here the supercontroller of solar cell. The many generation, many growth will occur in this organic solar cell. Organic solar cell nothing but combination of two material. One is acceptor material, another one is donor material. It may dissociation of electron hole pairs to produce the electricity. Here, the organic layer is there. So we use the polymers. Basically, the polymer materials are used to fabricate the third generation solar cell by using organic polymer like PCBM to P3HT material. The organic solar cell basically divided into two types. One is dye-sensitive solar cell, another is polymer solar cell. Dye-sensitive solar cell is based on the semiconductor form of between photosynthetic anode and electrolyte. Here, already we say that dye-sensitive solar cell come under photoelectrochemical solar cell. Here, the photon will observe by DSC solar cell. The electrolyte is there. The electrolyte will generate the oxidation and reduction. The whole electron created. Then whole counter electron counter electrode. The titanium dioxide solar cell is shown. The modern DSC is composed of four layer of titanium dioxide nanoparticles covered with molecular dye. They are using dye, the dye part, dye out light from out space, then to the reduction and distillation technique will occur in this solution. Then the electrode and generator. Again,
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Your voice is actually breaking, sir. I think you can switch off your video so that the network will be like fast.
Now it's okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it is okay. Please continue, sir.
What is it? Sorry for the interruption.
Okay, sir. It's okay. Please continue.
Okay. We already see the dye-sensitive solar cell. Here the cross-sectional view of dye-sensitive solar cell. Here the clearly there is the dye. Dye is formed in some semiconductor nanoparticles. The solution, electrolyte solution is inputted. The electrolyte solution occurs oxidation reduction process. Then photon hits the active layer. The buffer layer, the dye sensitizer and the electron semiconductor properties produce the electron and holes. Here the electron is collected by negative terminal, holes are collected by positive terminal. Then double side the glasses are there because this side I have one coating, this side I have one coating. This side is dye coating, this side we have electrolyte coating. Then it will be sealed. Then we go for the characterization and application. Then the dye-sensitive solar cell some limitation. The dye-sensitive solar cell is more than 11% of efficient, but one major drawback is here. Here we using electrolyzer liquid. Liquid will be exhaustible, otherwise it will be degradable. So this is a major disadvantage in dye-sensitive solar cell. This liquid's electrolyte is difficult for packing and easily leaks under the operating environment. While we collecting the electrolyte and coated on a glass plate, then we shield the two plates. The electrolyte will be leaked on some other point. So the dye-sensitive solar cell not give the long period and stability and also the warranty. So we go for a polymer molecular based solar cell to fabricate easily, and also it's a robust more robust during operation in any atmosphere. So we go for a polymer molecular based solar cell. The third generation solar cells are polymer solar cell with organic solar cell. Here we see three types of solar cell. One is single layer, another one is bilayer, another one is bulk heterojunction solar cell. Here also the generation is there from single layer to bulk layer. Single layer you have only organic and only one semiconductor polymer, that means PCBM or any other semiconductor polymer. It's the photon, it's the layer. Normally the current will be produces. In double layer we have coated one donor layer, one acceptor layer, the separate material. Both are separate material. Then here the junction is there. If photon is here, the electron and holes are collected, the output is counted. Another one is bulk heterojunction solar cell. Bulk heterojunction mixed one. The acceptor material is mixed with the donor material. So you have multi-junction. That is the bulk heterojunctions. The multi-junctions are there. If photon hits this active layer, the electrons and holes are produced in all the area of this active layer. Here, anywhere of this active layer, the electron and the holes are outputted. The mixing of two material is always known as bulk heterojunction solar cell. In organic solar cell, the dominant of N-type materials used as fluorescent derivatives due to their triplet degradation of LUMO, fast charging, splitting, and good electron mobility. Here we are using a two material. One is another one is donor material. Here the acceptor material is fluorescent derivatives. The fluorescent derivatives is acceptor material. So if acceptor materials have some disadvantages, so we go for a non-fluorescent acceptor material. So here the limitation, the generation from organic solar cell to hybrid solar cell, that are, we'll see next. That is this part is donor part, this part is semiconductor. For using acceptor material. Here the non-fluorescence material for replacement of fluorescence deflectives. Here the P3ST is there. We see nano silicon. The silicon is here. We combined the P3ST into silicon material. P3ST donor material and the silicon is acceptor material. Further coming slide, they explain about the P3ST and the SI combination and working. Now you see this part is donor material part, this part is acceptor material part. Why you are choosing P3ST and the SI means the HOMO-LUMO level. HOMO-LUMO level is the starting level and the ending level is difference from for electron and holes transfer. Let's see the HOMO-LUMO level. The electron will be this one is donor material, this one is acceptor materials. This type of energy gap is we need because the electron wants to travel, the holes also travel from this side to this side. When you see the P3ST with the CDSE material, cadmium selenide material, they are inside the energy band gap is very less than energy band gap between P3ST and the CDSE materials are very less. So the recombination rate is higher than well compared to other material. So we go for P3ST with say silicon material. The third generation solar cell is hybrid solar cell. So organic and inorganic hybrid solar cells are combination of organic and inorganic nanoparticles. Here we use non-fluorescence materials such as nanomaterials and are used with intent of encrypting and advantage associated with both material. The semiconducting nanocrystalline quantum dots are here. This one is active layer. Active layer mixing of organic and inorganic semiconductors material. Well, photon hits this active layer. The electron is collected by electron PSS. Folds buffer layer. Then the output is generated. The basic structure of hybrid solar cell. One of my paper is published in a Journal of Electronic Material with a impact factor of 1.9. Enhanced photovoltaic performance of hybrid solar cell with calcium interfacial metal electrode. Here I prepared silicon from silica nanoparticles. I prepared silica from quartz mineral sand. I prepared silica from sand, then silicon from silica. This is my basic research. The sand, I taken the quartz mineral sand, then I treated with alkylate extraction, extract with sodium silicate, and washed with acid precipitation. I got nanosilica. Then nanosilica is mixed with magnesium powder under ball milling condition. Then it produces silicon powder plus MgO, Mg2SiO4, and SiO2. This three unwanted materials washed with HCl and nitric acid, hydrofluoric acid. We got nanosilicon. Silicon with cost-effective manner. That means 100 gram silicon, nano silicon becomes 18,000. I prepare this all the things around 1,200, 1,500. So it's a by cost effective method. The fabrication of photovoltaic technique. This one is ITO plate. The ITO plate is etched by both sides for electrode pasting, then washed with acetone, IP and DI waters. Then I got P.PSS layer by spin coating method for holes collecting. It's a holes buffer layer. Then I got P3ST and the Nano SI. I prepared Nano SI and I bought P3ST from outside. I mixed these two and coated on the buffer layer of P.PSS. Above the buffer layer of P.PSS, it's an active layer, and aluminum electrode is fabricated in above the active layer. That ITO plate is for collecting holes. This electrode is for collecting electrons. Normally, in this type of fabrication, we use aluminum electrode for collecting the electrode. In this paper, I inserted some percentage of calcium into this aluminum electrode to get a more percentage than available aluminum electrode. This is the fabrication process. We see this ITO plate, P.PSS, P3ST silicon nanoparticles buffer active layer. This one is electrode. This one is aluminum electrode, 100%. That means 100 nanometer aluminum electrode. Then I shift into 90% of aluminum electrode with 10% of calcium interfacial layer, because it's observe the electrons from active layer so fast and quickly. It reduces the recombination rate. So I introduced calcium 10 nanometer buffer layer in this active, above the active layer, and then also for reference I add in 20%, that means 20 nanometer of calcium interface layer in 80 nanometer of aluminum layer. Then it goes for then I went to characterization. Solar cell characterization is based on fill factor and power conversion efficiency. Solar cell is graphed by current versus voltage. Current is not I, it's a current density. The current density, the fill factor is made up of maximum current, maximum point of current, maximum point of voltage divided by short circuit current, open circuit voltage. So maximum power point means this active area. This is only the active area for this solar cell. This region to attack the maximum region, and then this region to reduce the active region. So active regions is yellow shaded region in the active regions. The active region is termed as fill factor. When increasing the fill factor, then only the efficiency also increases. The time of charging or output from the solar cell also increasing due to the fill factor growth. The power conversion efficiency is just between relationship between short circuit current and open circuit voltage and fill factor divided by power input. These are the basic characterization techniques. This part is characterization of silicon nanoparticles and nanosilicon. First, it's reflected by XRD pattern. XRD pattern shows the amorphous nature of silica, nano SiO2. Nano shows the amorphous nature. Then here we see the ignition formation. We take the XRD pattern. The amorphous nature is reduced. Thus, there is some oxide and magnesium in this characterization. And then we go for partial natural. Then we got silicon, pure silicon, 99% pure silicon we got from silica to silicon. The UV spectroscopy, it's observed in visible region. So visible region absorption seems to electron, it increases the electron volt and also reduce the band gap. It's most possible and good material to mixed with active layer for non-fluorescent derivatives. The characterization of three type of solar cell already prepared. HSE1, the 100% aluminum electrode gives the power efficiency of 3.6. But calcium interface solar cell I got 3.77 percentage, and more than 10 percentage of calcium, the 20 percentage of calcium solar cell, it seems 3.37 percentage. So the 90 percentage, 10 percentage, that means 90 nanometer aluminum and 10 nanometer of calcium interface layer, solar cell gives a good percentage and good output. With the R series, it will be calculated by the voltage and current sources. To calculate R series resistance, it will be very less than non-calcium electrode solar cell. Nanocrystalline silicon can be produced from biogenic waste. The energy conversion application is a cost-effective technique. Compared to overall performance, all the HSCs, the performance of HSC2, that is 10% of calcium interface layer, it gives higher than other two fabricated layer, and also the EQ also increased to 20% will compare to other two fabricated layer, so fabricated devices. The third generation, and now it's a perovskite solar cell is rule the technology, solar cell technology world. Hereafter, the perovskite material and perovskite solar cell going to enrich the output, and also it roll the PV market also. It's a hybrid organic inorganic perovskite solar cell recently emerging for promising photovoltaic. The perovskite metal chemical formula, that means ABX3, means is metal cations and X is anions. A is cations occupying by 12-fold coordinates. This A cations, this one is B cations. So here the have combination of materials. It shows combination of materials. The combination of multi-materials why you are using in perovskite solar cell means the visible light band gap is higher, sometimes lower value. The perovskite solar cell observe the photons from lower wavelength light and also higher wavelength light by the multi combination of material. So in PV and silicon photovoltaics have only the higher band of energy visible region, higher band light only they observe. In perovskite, multi light absorption will be occurs. The multi light observes the lower light will observe the lower amount of electricity will produce. The higher band of visible light observe, the higher electricity was produced. So multi combination of material in perovskite solar cells. Perovskite solar cells are basically formed by multi combination of materials. Therefore, perovskite solar cell can be produced from low cost material. The combination of materials are different, but the material availability is very silicon. Perovskite solar actually major advances in efficiency and also lab cell, and also in printed perovskite solar cell they have major advanced in efficiency. It reached more than 22%. The research is expecting 24 to 25% in upcoming days. The major challenge is long-term stability and also module level to ensure the durable outdoor operation. The necessity of perovskite photovoltaic community to develop stability of the measurement of photocells. We are using multi components with multiple solution. We are coated in FTO and ITO plates. So we have to maintain the solution degradation and other process. We have to concentrate in that type of variables. That means although the degradation of perovskite observed caused by moisture or oxygen in ambient air can be inhibited by appropriate encapsulation. The performance decay induced by illumination and heat should be addressed through the construction of stable and interfaces. It continues the effort from the research and industrial community towards scaling up the perovskite solar cell and minimize and will be achieve the level comparable to other photovoltaic technology. The perovskite solar cell will rule the market and world in upcoming years and days. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. The session was whole informative, and we have some questions from the participants. So I will read the question, sir. The first question is from
That is-
Sobana Narayanasamy. The question is, what's the priority towards electrolyte selection for higher electrical output? She is asking how the electrolyte must be for an optimized higher efficient electricity output in solar cell. You can also refer your chat box. You can also refer your chat box, sir, for the questions.
Okay. Electrolyte selection depends upon the oxidation and the reduction timing. You have to, before going to coating, the oxidation and the reduction of the electrolyte timing and the performance of electrolyte by testing the oxidation reduction measures.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The another question is, we can install solar pads in our house at lower cost. So how much the cost comes? So he is
It
asking,
depends upon-
yeah,
yeah.
the solar cell will be
Okay.
cost for an house,
Yeah.
for a domestic purpose.
Okay. For house, we have to use one light, one fan. It's effective means we go for 100-watt solar cell. It's around 7,000 to 8,000, but it's all are in one-time installation. It's not cost effective. It's depends upon what your need of the solar cell. Sorry, output of the solar cell. We need 4 to 5 tube lights. We need 4 to 5 fans. How to operate means you have to more install of the you have to increase the capacity of the panels. It depends upon the panel. You have to install one light, one fan means it's enough.
Okay, sir. The another question is, combining lead selenide quantum dots with titanium oxides or combining carbon nanotubes and buckyballs, which one will be efficient in solar cell? Lead
Yeah.
selenide, quantum dots, and titanium oxide, or carbon nanotubes and buckyballs?
Nice question. The lead selenide quantum dots with the titanium oxide becomes more efficient than the next combination because here you have titanium dioxide semiconductor material to uh, boost up the output of the solar cell. The combination carbon tube and the bulky balls have recombination rate will be increases because it photon hits the layer, the electron holes combination will be higher will compare to the above material.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Karthik has some question for you, and he is willing to ask directly. So, Karthik, are you there? Can you ask the question?
Yeah, I can ask.
Tell me, sir.
Yeah, hello, Dr. Vinod Murugan. I just saw your work based on organic photovoltaics.
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
Yeah, you have mixed P3ST with silica, nano silica, right?
Yes, sir. Nano silicon.
Yeah, I want to know that whether nano silica acts as electron acceptor.
Yes, sir. It's a electron acceptor, sir.
But I think the band gap is too high for SiO2.
Sir,
Yeah,
SiO2
I say that the conduction band of the SiO2, whether it is matched with the P3ST.
Sir, not I conduct. I can combine with SiO2. I combine with nano Si silicon. Silicon band gap is around 2.2 from 1.2 to 2.5.
Oh, that's what I want to know. Nano silica or nano silicon?
Nano silicon. Silicon Si. Nano Si.
Okay. Because I thought whether you have had SiO2 like that. So you have come to replace the nano silicon as to replace with the fullerene materials, right?
Fullerene materials or PCBs.
But why the fill factor is very low?
Because of the I will did my fabrication and testing at IIT Bombay. That time the atmosphere of the material material
I think your fabrication is not good. You have not done in a glove box. I think so. You may be done in outdoor environment. I think so.
One part is I did in outdoor, and the other one part is I did in glove box.
Because P3ST is very sensitive for light and
the P3ST, the active layer coating I did at glove box. The other coatings and terminal I did at outspace with atmosphere.
I think if you done it in Glowbox, you can compare with the conventional OPV. I think so
Yeah,
because it replaced the high cost fullerene material. So
yes, sir.
it's my just suggestion. That's it.
That's a nice one, nice one. But at the type of atmosphere, I didn't get the type of atmosphere. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I will get. I will definitely. I will compare these two, and I will report it.
Okay. So one more question. Are you working in perovskite solar, sir?
No,
I
now
mean
only I started.
the.
Now only I started with that for sketch solar cells
Oh, okay.
because I complete my thesis by last year, and I did my presentation in last before 2 months. So now onwards I start with perovskite materials.
Okay. Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vinod Murugan. And we have one final question from Sobana Narayanasamy. The question is, what's the suitable alternate to ITO plate?
The FTO also the suitable alternative, but ITO is not other than the ITO. There is no material to alternate because it only the light absorber. This look like a glass plate. We need a glass plate to observe the photons, so we use the ITO. Otherwise, we use FTO plates. Both are same, not a big difference.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much and thanks for your informative session. And now I request Varshini to conclude the session with a vote of thanks.
Thank you.
On behalf of everyone attending the meeting and our supporters, event organizer, and as a coordinator, I extend my hearty thanks to Dr. Vinod Murugan for sharing his precious time with us and exchanging valuable information to our active participants. The session as a whole was very informative and engaging, sir. I thank the participants who were cooperative and patient throughout the session. Hope this session was useful to the audience. Participants will receive their feedback form only on 26th August 2020. Certificate will be issued to the participants who attend more than 5 sessions. I repeat, participants will receive the feedback form only on 26th August 2020. Certificate will be issued to the participants who attend more than 5 sessions. Thank you all. Until next time, this is Varshini signing off. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you, participants
Thank you
and
all.
speakers.
Thank you for this opportunity for Brinda ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And also thank Varshini Sriram.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with pleasure. I'm offering. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. We will end the session today and meet you tomorrow.